Nexus, the Guardian, was known for his unwavering courage. He was a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience in a world shrouded in darkness. His presence alone was enough to inspire those around him, to give them the strength to carry on, even in the face of insurmountable odds. His heart was filled with love for his beloved Emily, a love that was pure and unwavering. This love fueled his sworn duty to protect the realms from the encroaching darkness. But fate, it seemed, had a cruel twist in store for him, a twist that would test his resolve and his very essence.
As the earth rumbled beneath his feet, the very ground he stood on seemed to betray him. The once stable and familiar terrain now felt like a treacherous battlefield, shifting and cracking with every step he took. Nexus fought bravely against the monstrous entities that threatened to engulf their world. These creatures, born of the darkest nightmares, were relentless in their pursuit. A swirling vortex of dark energy erupted, a manifestation of the chaos that sought to consume everything in its path. The vortex threatened to consume him, its tendrils reaching out like the claws of a beast. He fought with all his might, his every move a testament to his strength and determination, but the force was overwhelming. It ripped him from his world, from Emily, and from everything he held dear. The connection he had to his home, to his love, was severed in an instant. He was hurled into the abyss, a void that seemed to stretch on forever. The darkness was all-encompassing, a suffocating presence that threatened to swallow him whole.
He fell through the swirling chaos, the vortex pulling him deeper into the unknown. His heart pounded against his ribs, each beat a reminder of his fear and desperation. Fear, cold and unfamiliar, gripped him. The world he knew, the light he embodied, seemed to vanish into a distant memory. The warmth and familiarity of his home were replaced by an icy void, a place where hope seemed to be a forgotten concept. The light he once carried within him, the light that had guided him through countless battles, now seemed to flicker and fade. It was as if the very essence of his being was being drained away, leaving him a mere shadow of his former self. He had fallen, and the darkness had welcomed him into its embrace. It was a cold, unyielding embrace, one that offered no comfort or solace. In that moment, Nexus realized that his journey was far from over. The fall was not the end, but rather the beginning of a new and harrowing chapter in his life. The darkness had claimed him, but it had not yet broken him. And so, with a heart full of determination and a spirit that refused to be extinguished, Nexus prepared to face whatever lay ahead. Nexus landed with a sickening thud, the air around him heavy and oppressive. He pushed himself up, his senses reeling. The world was alien, a desolate wasteland bathed in an eerie purple glow. The sky was a canvas of swirling, malevolent energy, and the air hummed with an unsettling silence. Fear, sharp and piercing, shot through him.
He was alone. The thought echoed in his mind like a death knell. He called out for Emily, his voice a desperate rasp in the stillness, but only silence answered. Despair threatened to consume him, but he clung to the memory of Emily. Her laughter, her touch, a beacon in the encroaching darkness. He would find his way back to her, he vowed.
A memory, vivid and bright, flashed before his eyes. Emily, her eyes sparkling with laughter, held a crown of moonflowers over his head.
"For my brave knight," she whispered, her voice filled with love.
He remembered her touch, the warmth of her hand in his, the sweet scent of her hair. It felt like a lifetime ago, a forgotten dream, his Emily, his light in the darkness. The memory fueled his determination, reminding him of everything he was fighting for. He would not succumb to this place. He would escape this abyss and find his way back to her. He had to. But the realm had other plans. It seeped into his wounds, a chilling cold that spread through his veins like venom. He felt his resolve wavering, his thoughts turning sluggish and dark. Whispers slithered through his mind, whispering doubts, amplifying his fears. They spoke of Emily, of her life fading with every passing moment he spent trapped in this abyss.
They promised him power, the strength to break free, to return to her. All he had to do was surrender. Let the darkness in.
He shook his head, trying to banish the voices. He wouldn't listen, he wouldn't give in.
But the darkness was insidious, a constant pressure against his weakening defenses.
Embrace the power, Nexus.
A voice hissed, slithering through his mind like silk.
Let go of your past, your weakness. Become something more.
The voice was seductive, promising him everything he desired. power surged within him, dark and intoxicating. He saw a vision of himself cloaked in shadows, his eyes glowing with unearthly power. He could feel the darkness twisting him, reshaping him into something he no longer recognized. It whispered promises of vengeance against those who had banished him to this realm. It whispered of a power that could reshape the world in his image. The temptation was almost too much to bear.
No matter what happens, I'll always find you. Our love will always guide us back to each other. Narrator. Another memory surfaced, this one filled with the warm glow of 1,000 stars. He and Emily stood hand in hand, gazing up at the night sky.
Her words echoed in his mind, a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. He clung to the memory, to the love they shared. It was a lifeline, pulling him back from the brink. He wouldn't break his promise. He wouldn't let the darkness win. He would fight. For Emily, for their love, for the light that still flickered within him, however faintly. But the realm was relentless, a predator toying with its prey. It was a place where hope was a distant memory, and every corner held a new terror. The shadows seemed to whisper, mocking his every step, reminding him of his insignificance in this vast, uncaring world. It showed him visions of Emily, her face etched with worry, her eyes filled with a pain that mirrored his own. Her image was a constant reminder of what he stood to lose, a haunting spectre that fueled his desperation. He could see the toll it was taking on her, the way her shoulders sagged under the weight of their shared burden.
She's suffering because of you. The words cut through him like a knife, each syllable a fresh wound. They echoed in his mind, a relentless chant that he couldn't escape. You're weak, powerless to help her. The accusation was a heavy blow, striking at the core of his being. He felt the truth in those words, a truth he had been trying to deny. His strength, once a source of pride, now seemed like a cruel joke.
His resolve, already strained to its breaking point, began to crumble. Despair, cold and suffocating, wrapped around him like a shroud. He was failing her. The weight of his own inadequacies pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe. Every step forward felt like a step deeper into the abyss. His love, the very thing that had sustained him, now felt like a curse, a burden he was too weak to bear. It was a cruel twist of fate, that the emotion that had once given him strength now threatened to destroy him. He wondered if love was worth the pain, if the light it brought was worth the darkness it cast. His heart, once a beacon of warmth and light, grew heavy with the weight of his failure. The light that had once guided him now flickered, dim and uncertain. He could feel the darkness closing in, a relentless tide that threatened to drown him. He had fought so long, but it was no use. The darkness was winning. It was a battle he couldn't win, a foe he couldn't defeat. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow, but there was no denying it. The darkness was too strong and he was too weak. The end was inevitable, and all he could do was brace himself for the final blow. The transformation was agonizing, his body racked with pain as the darkness consumed him. His screams echoed through the desolate wasteland, a testament to his defeat. His skin turned ashen grey, his eyes blazing with an eerie purple light. The man he once was, the guardian filled with love and light, was gone.
In his place stood Voidcaster, a being of pure shadow and power. He was a weapon forged in the heart of darkness, his soul bound to the will of the realm that had claimed him. He no longer felt pain, no longer felt love. All that remained was a cold emptiness and a burning desire for vengeance.
Meanwhile, Emily refused to believe that Nexus was gone. Guided by the unwavering beacon of their bond, she traversed treacherous landscapes and perilous realms, her heart a compass pointing towards her lost love. Every whispered rumor, every flicker of energy that resonated with Nexus's essence fueled her desperate search.
She felt him in her dreams, his agony a chilling echo in her soul. It spurred her forward, the fear in his fading whispers, a map leading her through the labyrinth of despair. She would find him. She would tear him from the clutches of darkness, even if it cost her everything. Their love, she believed, was stronger than any force in existence.
Her quest led her to the precipice of the abyss, the air thick with malevolent energy. The darkness seemed to pulse with a life of its own, whispering secrets and threats that chilled her to the bone. She could feel the weight of countless lost souls pressing down on her, urging her to turn back, but she stood firm. It was here, in this desolate wasteland, that she found him. The landscape was barren, devoid of life, a mirror to the emptiness she felt inside. Every step she took echoed with the memories of their past, each one a dagger to her heart. But he was no longer the man she loved. The transformation had twisted him into something unrecognizable, a shadow of the person he once was. His features were distorted, his once warm eyes now cold and unfeeling, reflecting the abyss that had claimed him. He stood before her, a figure of darkness and power, his eyes devoid of recognition. The aura of malevolence around him was almost tangible, a barrier that separated them more than the physical distance ever could. She could see the remnants of his former self, but they were buried deep beneath layers of darkness. She whispered, her voice breaking with a grief that threatened to consume her. "Nexus!" she called out, hoping against hope that he would respond, that he would remember. But the silence that followed was deafening, a void that echoed her despair. Voidcaster turned towards her, his lips curving into a cruel smile. S2, Nexus? The name seemed foreign to him, a relic of a past he had long forgotten. His smile was a mockery of the love they once shared, a twisted reflection of the bond that had been shattered. Despair threatened to crush her, but Emily clung to the faintest flicker of hope. She refused to believe that he was truly lost, that the man she loved was gone forever. She had to believe that there was still a part of him that could be saved. She saw a glimmer of her Nexus, buried deep within the monster he had become. S1. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it was there, a spark of the man he used to be, fighting against the darkness that had consumed him. Nexus is gone. The words were like a knife to her heart, but she refused to accept them. She had to believe that there was still hope, that she could bring him back from the brink. There is only Voidcaster now. The darkness had claimed him, but she would not give up. She would fight for him, for their love, no matter the cost.
I will save you. Her voice was filled with determination, a vow that she would not break. She would find a way to reach him, to pull him back from the darkness. I will find a way to bring you back to the light. No matter how long it took, no matter the obstacles she faced, she would not rest until she had saved him. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but she was ready to face it, for the sake of the love that still burned within her heart.